So our final speaker tonight is Fred Schmidt with Hey FoCo, What's Your Secret Sauce? He's been very involved in shaping Austin culture, and he wants us to look at our local ingredients and decide what kind of sauce we want to make. So please help me welcome Fred.
Thank you very much. I like to walk around a little bit, so I'm going to create some space for myself here. So I'm Fred Schmidt, and I come from the future. What that means is that Austin 60 years ago was just a little bit bigger than Fort Collins is today. If you took the capital from Denver and you dropped it in here, that would make up the 100,000 or so population differential that Austin was in the 60s. Today, Austin is America's 11th largest city. We're about to crack the top 10. And I'm going to take you for a walk through our journey of the last 60 years. And as I talk you through what Austin has evolved to become and how we got there, I think you will see a lot of Fort Collins ingredients in that whole journey. So before we go down that exact road, let's start with a little exercise here, which is, you know, there's the adage of I couldn't figure out how to write a sentence, so I wrote a book. So I'm a marketing and branding guy by background, and so one of the hardest things to ever come up with is a very succinct couple of words of who are you, what is anything. That's the hardest thing to figure out. So doing a little exercise to start this journey off with is if we looked at cities and if we thought cities were people, kind of what would we sum up some cities to be? So a fellow named Paul Graham, who created Y Combinator in the Silicon Valley area a number of years ago, started playing around with this exercise. And now these are generalities, of course, attributable to communities, and it's kind of really the driving class of that community. I mean, the people who really sort of identify and shape the conversation around some of these cities. And he said, if you kind of start to look at some of these cities like New York, a common theme there is be rich. In Los Angeles, it's be famous. In San Francisco, it's go big, be powerful, go public, scale. In Boston, it's be smart. We've got a very educated population. In Washington, D.C., it's be an insider. So we looked at ourselves in Austin using some of this kind of exercise work and started asking ourselves, who are we? So in Austin, we came up with be yourself. And this is a thought leader in our town called Bijoy Goswami, who works in the entrepreneurial community. And through a variety of public exercises, we sort of looked at why are people attracted to Austin, Texas? What makes us who we are? So we're a place where everybody from octogenarian Willie Nelson can walk down the street smoking a joint and nobody cares, to Matthew McConaughey can come there and unwind and play his bongos naked and nobody cares. And so we kind of built upon this sort of like thought process and just says, wow, this is kind of unusual in the landscape of conversation nationally with all these other cities. I mean, we're about to like kind of compete with those guys and get into that league. We're like, you know, way out of left field. So welcome to Austin, Texas. Let me take you for a little journey on how we came to be who we are. So again, we started off in the state of Texas, and for 10 years we were our own country. So that gave us a little bit of bragging rights and the ability to be boastful just as a state. And Austin is in the middle of that whole conversation. We're the differential. We're the blue in the sea of red, however you want to call it. We're the quirky, weird place, and we really like that. We really like that, kind of being a pain in the side of the whole state. And that's become a real big part of our identity. So what started the whole thing was government and academia. So academia is a really big theme in this evolution, as you will see as you think about other cities like Austin and Fort Collins. The university is a huge and important force. Over time, in addition to government and academia and service industries for those sectors, the electronics industry finally trickled down from Dallas because it was cheaper in Austin. And so in the 50s, we got a few big electronics companies, and then semiconductors followed in the 80s. But then the formation of Austin's creative class started to emerge. And that really came on the backs of musicians, okay? What we ended up calling the Cosmic Cowboys and the Armadillo World Headquarters. So this was from literally 1970 to 1980. Those were the bookends, where even though Austin had kind of a creative history on the Chitlin circuit and in other elements of music, this period really started to define Austin's unique and fun creative identity. And that's because the hippies mixed with all the cowboys over cold beers and enjoyed music, everything from the Ray Charles Orchestra to the Grateful Dead and classical concerts, and it just didn't matter. It was beer and cowboys and fun conversation and good times. And so suddenly there was this bonding of community. And that was really the minstrel canaries, who are often the first in most communities, the immigrants and the creative class, the minstrel canaries, who take a place that's boring or dying and turn it into something cool. And then everybody else starts showing up and following. You can trace Austin's evolution in the creative and tech industries through the South by Southwest conference that many of you have probably heard of now. It started in the 80s with South by Southwest music. Then a few years later, film and what we at that time called multimedia. Now it's known as interactive or the digital age, but all that began during that period of time. And so you can see as South by Southwest, which is now becoming nearly 30 years old, the economic impact at the bottom there that conference has had on our city and just driving it as a place is just enormous, okay? Last year, the economic impact was $315 million for 10 days in our city. Now Austin is hot. In 2009, when I started doing these kinds of presentations, just sharing the story of Austin and communities around the country and around the world. And that's not even what I do for a living. I just happen to be in the middle of this conversation, so I show up in places and we have this discussion. But I started tracking, the awards we were winning in 2009, and they just continued and continued and continued. And so we now have a whole website that's just devoted to all the awards we win. It's ridiculous, and it's a very, very hard bar to sustain. Okay, and we're gonna get into where this has taken us. So that's just a little bit of that list. So you guys are starting to win some awards. Okay. You see some patterns emerging here, some tracks that you might be on. So along the way, we've attracted a bunch of celebrities, okay, for a lot of reasons. A few of them are locals to Texas or to Austin. Most of them have come there from other places for a whole lot of reasons. But, we've got now musicians and actors and politicians and sports figures and all kinds of folks. And so that has helped put us on the map in some very visible sorts of ways. But they come there to get away, to escape where they are from in New York or LA or San Francisco. And what Austin has got going for it, which is similar to what a lot of the same ingredients are that you'll find here or you enjoy here in Fort Collins, is climate. I mean, you guys might argue, since you're kind of a four-season place, that 4 seasons are better. But if you look at the population growths in California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, I mean, the world is kind of migrating toward the equator because I've shoveled my fair bit of snow growing up in Michigan, and I'm done with that. So I'll take hot over cold, and so will a lot of other people. We've got great economics compared to both of the other coasts. We have no state income tax. That's a big bonus. Centrally located to the rest of the world, solid foundation in all the creative industries and tech industries. And we're very liberal and open-minded in our culture, and we're also very socially aware and connected. A lot of the same ingredients that you have here in Fort Collins. But now we are a global brand. We have 130 people moving to Austin every single day right now. When I got there 25 years ago, we had one entertainment district, the number one in there. It's called the 6th Street Historic and Entertainment District. It's 7 blocks long. Looks much like your entire downtown, okay? So you've got our historic district in multiple blocks, which is an incredible, incredible, incredible fabric to preserve at all costs, all expenses. Even with compact and connected, do that around the edges. Do not destroy that beautiful fabric that you have there. We went from that one entertainment district, and over the last 20 years, we now have 10 different entertainment and distinct districts. Each one of them has a different personality. I don't have time to go through the whole list there, but they have grown very organically out of warehouses and old homes that have become bars and restaurants where you got backyards you can go play in, and while you're dining and drinking. I mean, it's just like we create this stuff, we make this stuff up. It's just kind of nuts, and we use the entire fabric of the community. So it might give you some things to think about in terms of just how you look at your downtown and how that might evolve into some other interesting ways as it goes beyond just the central core right now. And so along the way, we also came up with a few themes back around when South by Southwest started. We came up with a theme, Austin, live music, capital of the world. We made that up. I mean, that was completely, it's not quantified, it's not proven. It's a bunch of hippies again with the beer, and just said, well, I think we got a lot of live music here. Let's call ourselves that. And eventually we made it so. We now have over 250 live music venues all around Austin that pretty much every night of the week you will see actual live music being performed. So that became a real big part of our branding and our unique differentiation. About 20 years later, we wanted to go beyond just the live music capital positioning, and the local independent business community came up with Keep Austin Weird. That goes along with Be Yourself. I mean, we just like doing things different. Innovation is born out of doing things different. And so as my dear friend Jenny Parker, who invited me here and I'm staying with the Parkers, who are brand new transplants to your community from Lubbock, Texas here. So grateful to be here, by the way. As I looked around your downtown today and just got a little feel for it, my gosh, the independent local businesses that you have here are just so wonderful, so incredible. There's not a 7-Eleven and a Starbucks and a Dunkin' Donuts in every one of those old historic buildings. Nothing to disparage those big brands with. They provide value and services in the right places, but my goodness, the value proposition that you have with those local businesses plus that historic infrastructure is just as important as the river, the mountains, the university in your fabric and your infrastructure here. So some lessons learned from Austin. Be careful what you wish for, okay? These are the things that right now I commend you for having these discussions and doing the work that you're doing, because some of the things that we're really struggling with right now are limited housing availability and affordability, significant traffic congestion. We've kicked the mass transit can down the road for 20 years, still can't find our way out of that paper bag, and we have to leapfrog over that stuff. Now we got to do radically different things in solving our traffic problems. The creative class is exiting our city, so we got 130 people moving in. A lot of those original people are leaving. I was going to send them up here to you guys, but then I saw what your price of housing is. It's even more than ours and Denver. I mean, it's like, whoa, that is like really high. We've had a shrinkage in the African-American population. Don't really know why, but that's not helping our cultural diversity and our global economy and outlook. We're losing a lot of our unique and legendary local businesses. We've got a lack of developable property in the CBD. We've got environmental challenges because of all the traffic problems with ozone readings, limited contractor pools to build everything because all the big projects have got everybody on their payrolls, drought and water issues, and really less happy interim residents. It's not the old people. I mean, the folks like you here, when you're trying to find an original Fort Collins person, they're very cool people. They're going, hey, we're happy to have you all here. Thanks for coming, Thanks for keeping us lively and vibrant. But it's the people who have moved here more recently. They're going, yeah, close that door, I want to be the last one in here. So these are real struggles and real issues, how you figure out how you balance all of these needs and continue to grow and be vibrant. And so our next chapter is similar to what you're doing. We're doing it again, which is we just finished our whole Imagine Austin plan, which is the larger comprehensive plan. We did a separate one for downtown, similar to what you're doing in Old Town. Out of that, we've completely restructured our city governance to a district and regional representation system for city council and more council members to get more voices into the government conversation. We're rewriting our entire zoning and code enforcement and policies to really do smart urban forward planning. And we're really trying to reinvent ourselves to become the innovation city across a whole variety of verticals to attract and keep young people to want to live in a place like Austin. And we're partnering with other smart cities in a network around the world. So bringing us full circle here to your neighborhood in Fort Collins. So what is your secret sauce? That's really the conversation. That's, I think, what we'll be doing from this jumping point over. I guess by being the rap guy here, I get to, set us up for where we're going from here, which is into discussions about, what do you have to work with? And you've got some absolutely phenomenal ingredients in your kettle here. From the natural resources, your history here, certainly that university is an incredible facility here. You've been modeled by Disney of all people, for your Main Street. Like I say, keep that. I mean, you're the real deal. You're not a fabricated version of yourselves. You have all these festivals and culture that celebrates who you are as a people, that incredible old town vitality. You've attracted the tech industry. And you got this crazy craft brewing scene here that, as recently as 1969, you were still in Prohibition. I mean, this is like, where did that come from? And then as I was looking at your history of branding here, I found, Wikipedia doesn't lie, but I found, as a guy from the live music capital of the world, you at one time were known as the lamb feeding capital of the world, because of beat tops and stuff. I mean, it's going like, wow, that's kind of random. I don't know if I'd go with that as your national or global brand, but it's kind of cool. Weird. Money Magazine and others obviously have already discovered you, so watch out, here they come. And things like Bohemian Nights and Tour de Fat, I mean, you've got now some national branding going on because Tour de Fat and the New Belgian Brewery has taken that on the road to other cities. Where do they think they're going to find out the roots of all that? Hey, Fort Collins, wonder what's going on there. Let's go check it out. So the people are now coming. They're going to discover you. You can't turn back the clock here, but you have some really, really important opportunities to think about where you go from here over the next 60 years. I invite you to come to Austin anytime, visit with us. Don't reinvent wheels that, we've already solved, or come learn from us on the things that we haven't solved and things you can think of and still make a difference in right now. So thank you so much for having me up to visit with you, and look forward to talking to you.